What's up, good people? It is right now 5:12 a.m. Saturday morning. You're wondering why I'm awake? I actually did get some sleep. Kind of crashed out on the couch earlier. About 12 hours ago, I got some really frustrating news. As y'all might know, I'm sure everybody who knows me knows that for about a year and a half now, I've been considering working with the girls basketball team at Western. I really started a journey thinking about helping coach the JV squad, build that up so that by the time the girls got to varsity age, they would be ready to take the court and make some noise. But over the course of that journey, with parental buy-in and Coach Demetrius, Coach D, the conditioning coach, and different connections that I've made, and then the previous coach retiring and leaving that a vacancy, all different things just kind of led me to think that it's possible that I could get the varsity role, get the varsity head coach role. And a lot of that was because of the plans that I drew up. Now went in a full-on lead architect mode, right? Drew up this amazing blueprint, from top to bottom. I recruited a lot of girls to potentially play. Spent a lot of time in the hallways talking with them. It's tough to talk about because I spent too much time, effort, and energy focusing on it. But, the reality is, Western has chosen five candidates, and they'll be interviewing them the week after spring break. And not one of those candidates. So, to the girls basketball team, to the ones I recruited, to the girls who are actually going to return next year, play hard for whoever it is. Give it all. You know what I'm saying? Remember that you're there for school first. Get your grades right. Do what you're supposed to do in the classroom, because that's even more important than whether or not we're playing basketball. There's so much to say. I actually typed something up. I got an old word that got on my screen right here. That's why I keep looking this way. But the reality is that a decision's been made that I'm not going to be included, and it's not going to be easy to come to terms with it, especially when we get back to school after spring break on April 7th, and I have to readjust my all my conversations, right? Like this week over spring break, I'm gonna come to terms. Well, I'm gonna come to terms with it the next day or so. Because it is what it is. You apply for jobs, you don't get them. Can't cry about it. You gotta move on, right? Gotta make the most of life and keep moving, keep pushing, keep kicking, keep persevering, keep overcoming. But it's okay to be sad a little bit. It's okay to take a moment to mourn what you had created, the friendships, the connections, the mentorship. You know what I'm saying? That it's painful. It's painful to know. To think back, because to be honest with you, I wasn't even interested in doing this at all. I had all the questions. You're a grown man. Why do you want to work with girls? The answer to that is because I have a 4-year-old daughter, and I know that I would want to be a coach to these girls. That I would want somebody to be to Naomi in 10 to 12 years when she's in high school. Man, you never really talked about basketball much. Why are you interested now? Well, I've been drawing up plays since I knew about basketball. Since me and Terrence Neal were playing ball in the yard. You know, we didn't even have a team, but I was still drawing up plays, and we were talking about Jordan and Pippen and Dominique Wilkins. I would watch like Reggie Miller come off screens, different kinds of things. So I was interested in X's and O's and drawing up plays, but I never made the basketball team, so I didn't really care too much. I didn't really put a whole lot of effort into it, but it was definitely something that I got excited about doing. Played football in high school, earned a little leather jacket, which once I get that hooked up, I'm gonna probably start wearing that around school, around the campus. But I never really gave it much thought as far as trying to be a coach of anybody's team. Really, never really, because the whole ministry situation and trying to find something as far as a career that I can make a decent amount of money, make a living, take care of myself and my family. That's been my priority. But it's only been the last year and a half, not quite a year and a half, but in the last 13, 14 months that, I was talking to Demetrius about, the lack of how do I say this? The way that the culture has suffered. And then I would see random girls on campus talking about how the basketball the basketball situation is very frustrating and disappointing atmosphere. And they used to love basketball, but the atmosphere was so toxic that it's not worth playing ball anymore. And so I kind of jumped in thinking I could make a positive impact. That I could draw up a blueprint for the JV. Like I said, that when I can get the JV to just be so on point that by the time they were old enough to play varsity, that they just come in and just be killers on the court. Playing defense more than anything, scoring when they needed to. Not even like be arrogant and say that I'm so great of a coach or motivator or anything, but I really think that prayerfully studying studying the game and the roster that we had. I had custom fitted things that that would have been beneficial. I'm not gonna say we would have won 10 to 12, 15 games. I'm not saying that, but I do think that I was gonna create a culture that would have really renovated the way girls see basketball and hopefully make them love to hoop again, right? Because I work with several girls on campus and in different places. Like, one girl was in the gym. I actually worked with a couple of people right in the hallway, right in front of my class, because, where I'm a teacher assistant, I have hall duty between classes, and sometimes I would step out in the hallway and bring a basketball in because, just to have something to do, because, I can't just, I have to always, I love to connect with people, right? And I'll never stop doing that, Wear my Reese's hoodie. A lot of people call me Mr. Reese's, and I love that, And I'm gonna continue to do that. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna see y'all in the hall, still Mr. Reese's, still, you know what I'm saying? I'm still gonna be smiling and dapping folk, but gotta turn the page on the whole basketball concept. And I'm gonna talk to whoever actually gets the job, see if they need my help. I'm not gonna give them all my ideas, right? Because who knows? Maybe one day I'll try again. This should be somebody else's coach, but like I said, ladies, whoever gets the job, give them your all. You know what I'm saying? Because I know how much time, effort, energy, and work I put into this, and I assume that whoever gets this job is gonna give their time, effort, energy. So in the same way that this means a lot to me, and this means fell in love with the process, fell in love with the hypotheticals, the possibilities, concept of mentoring, being a safe harbor for for my girls. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know I'm not official, but like recruiting and mentoring and just developing the coach-athlete relationship, the coach/student-athlete relationship it's really been exhilarating. And kind of jealous of whoever it is that gets the job. I thought that being on campus in the building, the conversations that I've had, even had a teachable moment with a student who was kind of skipping class, and the teacher thought that I had something to do with it, and I explained the situation, and ultimately ended up, speaking with the young lady about, respecting your authority. And I gave the hypotheticals, like, what if a ref makes a bad call? In the same way that a teacher might say something you don't like or don't agree with. What if a ref makes a bad call and you start arguing, a technical get thrown out the game? You gotta think about the big picture, right? So whether you guys are on the court or in life circumstances, if someone in a leadership position makes a bad decision or a bad call, don't just blurt out disrespectful things. Find a tactful way to voice your concerns, and just do things the right way. Like I say, I think that me having that role in the building, is beneficial. I think that, I think it definitely would put me in a good position. But, Western has made its decision that I'm not going to be one of the 5 candidates that are interviewed. So, as tough as that is, I'm trying to come to terms with it. I shall. And like I said, whoever it is that gets the job, I'm gonna ask if they want help. But if they bring their own team in, they bring their own assistant coaches and all this other stuff, and I'm just completely out of that situation. Like I said, I'm still gonna be a safe harbor that people can come through. And of course, bear in mind, my primary objective at Western is the special needs kids. So that's the reason I'm there. That's the reason I'm getting paid. But you need a safe harbor to come. I would definitely actually probably need to defer and send you to guidance counseling. But I'm still gonna be in the hallway dapping people. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm an encourager, a motivator, a campaigner. And I made a kind of made a joke earlier. Said I'm a lead architect with a amazing blueprint. I can draw up the house, but actually this Western Guilford varsity girls basketball is not my house. Clearly. So it doesn't matter if you can have a gift, you can have a talent, you can have a calling, a purpose, and a mission, but you have to find the right place to do that. And it's been made obvious to me that coaching a varsity girls basketball team is not, it's not for me. This season, who knows what, maybe, who knows, maybe in a couple of years, if I'm still at Western, that position will come open again. I don't know. Can't see the future. I'm not going to stress myself out about that. It's about to enjoy the spring break. And, to be honest with you, I might wait and post this video until after spring break. I'm not sure. I'll probably post it immediately. But in any sense, I hope y'all enjoy y'all spring break and y'all have a wonderful week. And as a teacher assistant, I got a mandatory work day on the 6th. So I'll be back on the campus on the 6th. Students, when y'all come back on the 7th, make the most of it. You know what I'm saying? You're I don't know, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Make the most of this time because it is a special time in your life. Get yourself in position to do great things. This is the time to search within yourself and find your passions and your purpose. As a Christian, I have to advocate that you get closer to Jesus and, pour out your heart to him and open up to him and let him fill you with the Holy Spirit and lead you and guide you and direct you into whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? Whether, I don't know, you know what you're interested in, you know what you like doing. And just ask the Lord to help you make a career out of that. What career he wants you to have. Maybe he wants you to do whatever, I don't know. The Lord knows. Talk to him. And I'm not trying to disrespect anybody else's religion, but like I say, as a Christian, that's what I have to represent, right? And I hope that, when you see me on campus, when you see me at the grocery store, wherever you might see me, whether or not I'm Mr. Reese's at that moment, I hope that I'm being a blessing to you. My personality's not going to change, never will. My methodology's going to change because, this is not my show, right? I'm not a girls basketball coach, varsity, JV, none of that. I mean, like I said, I'm going to talk to whoever it is that they hire, say, like I'm boots on the ground, you know what I mean? I see these girls every day, I encourage them, I talk to them, they tell me they want me to be their coach. Some of them start asking me when can they work out. Some of them are showing me their form, the way they shoot, and I'm coaching them up. And, I got time-stamped examples of, one girl who was shooting, and she was turning her hips to the side, and she was missing shots, and I told her, square her hips up with her shoulders. And then she already had to push the follow through, so she started making shots like instant. And then there was another young lady who was talking about she'd been working on her threes, but her form's kind of sad, really. And rather than giving her grief and making feel bad or whatever, just kind of talked her through it, and. Of course, it didn't make her late for class. I was careful and intentional to not do that. Try to, get the base right, get the elbows right. And she was shooting like this. I'm like, no, push up. And then she want to push up and snap the wrist right here. No, just all the way up to the top, and then release. So she did it. She got the muscle memory. And the next day, her friend came in with her, like passed by our class, as always. But this particular day, she was like really, really hyped. She made like 8 threes in a row, something crazy like that. And it's like, with that, you know what I'm saying? Those examples of coachability, you know what I'm saying? Not gonna tell too much of my coaching philosophy, but coachability is major, right? Looking people in the eyes, being able to talk with people, relate to people, you know. There's more I want to say, but I've been talking long enough. I vented this off my chest. I'm gonna upload this, at some point. And as of right now, I'm going to sleep. So, whoever's listening to this, whoever's watching this, I pray God bless you. May the Lord smile upon you. And see you soon.